use the okay. I'm sorry for that interruption. So please, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise that little hand on the icon, or you can drop it in the chat box. And the other thing I'd like to remind you is if you can please change your name to reflect your first name, last name, and the name of your organization, that would be very helpful for us. And lastly, please be kind and mindful of others. Thank you. And we're going to go ahead and get started with introductions. So if you can stop sharing.
Should I go first?
Okay. So once again, my name is Laura Chavez-Sharman, and I'm a project manager here at the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And Greg, if you can please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. My name is Greg Mullen. I'm the president of ABQ IT, and I'm part of the hub team here. And thank you for having me. Mark.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Mark Fidel. I am a member of the hub team here. I'm a subject matter expert, and I am the principal consultant for Fidel Consulting Group. And if I could remind everybody to keep their mics muted, but keep their cameras on if they can. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, I'm John Egan, Director of Research at ABQ IT. I work with Greg, and I focus specifically on the area of artificial intelligence.
Good morning. My name is Kudi Teran, Director of First Impressions here with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber.
Great. Now we're going to move on to our hub team online. Elliot, could you start, please?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Elliot Parras. I'm a program specialist with Project Echo. Good to be here.
Great. Roxy?
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Roxy Marquez. I am a program manager with Project Echo. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Great. Okay, we are going to move on to Susanna Jones.
I'm Susanna Jones. I am now the co-founder of Whatever Time Finds.
Great, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Chris Flores.
Hi, my name is Christina Flores, and I am the Employment Engagement Manager at Jobs for America's Graduates. I'm really interested in helping to make my workflow extremely efficient because we're growing and there's lots of things to do.
Great, welcome. Annalisa?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Annalisa Gorno. I'm with the New Mexico Veterans Integration Centers. I work as a development director here. I'm also the executive director for Community Source. It's a newly founded nonprofit. Thank you for your time.
Great, welcome. Nate?
Hi, my name is Nate Owens. I'm a representative from 4Lead. I'm just here to kind of listen and learn.
Wonderful, welcome.
Thank you.
Kelly?
Hi, I'm Kelly Carnahan with Fast Park and Relax. I'm the regional marketing manager.
Welcome, Kelly. Dr. Vernon Cox?
Hi, yes, I'm Vernon Cox, and I'm with Santed Project Management. We provide project scheduling, project management services around the world via government contracts.
Great, thanks for being here. Anna? Anna Leon?
Hi, I'm Anna Leon. I work with the Senior Health Research Center, trying to figure out how to unmute myself, but here I am. I'm excited to learn about IA.
Wonderful, we're glad you're here. Joey?
Hi, I'm Joey Gutierrez. I'm the Development Program Director for the New Mexico State Bar Foundation, and I'm just here to learn about how we can be more efficient and streamline our processes.
Wonderful, welcome. Andrew?
I'm Andrew Manella. I'm the Senior Budget Analyst here at CNM. Just looking to see what I can learn here.
Wonderful. And we have another Andrew. De Gregorio?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew De Gregorio. I'm the manager of First Impressions with Leadership New Mexico.
Wonderful, welcome. And we have Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew Wright with Central New Mexico Community College. I'm in the HR office, just trying to learn more about AI.
Great, welcome. Elizabeth Garcia.
Hi, good morning. I'm Elizabeth Garcia. I work here at the Hispano Chamber. I'm in the membership department. I'm here to learn more about the program and to support Laura. Good morning.
Good morning. We're happy to see you. Christine.
Good morning. I'm Christine Rice. I am a board member of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I also have my own AI consulting firm where I help businesses automate their processes and give them coaching and guidance. So welcome. Looking forward to hearing the content. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Andrew Manila. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, sorry. Yeah, I introduced myself a second ago. I'm with Central New Mexico Community College.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay.
No problem.
Then we have Siloe.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Sylvie Benikise with Lumia Financial Services. Just looking forward to learning. I'm not very sure because I came in a little late, so I wasn't sure the nature of the introduction. So pardon me for being so brief. But hi, just looking forward to learning. Good to meet you.
We're happy. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Let's see, Jasmine. See if we get Jasmine Velasquez.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I am over at the State Bar of New Mexico, and just like Joey mentioned, we are looking to expand and streamline our processes.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. And we have Chris Armijo. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning. Sorry about that. Chris Armijo with Core 4 Agency. Thanks for having me this morning. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. Jesse Frazier. Hi, Jesse. You're on mute.
Good morning. Hi. I'm going to stay muted and off camera, so my apologies. I didn't even know you could hear or see me. So, but thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Christine Rice.
I already introduced.
I'm sorry.
Thank
Yeah, thank you. And
covered everything.
I think so. We need. I think we need Pamela Garcia.
Hello, I'm Pamela Garcia with Central New Mexico Community College from the Human Resources Department.
Wonderful. Welcome, Pamela. And Nicholas.
Yes, hi. This is Nick Trujillo from Savio Systems. We're an employment agency here in Albuquerque.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. If there's anyone I missed, can you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Brianna Velasquez. I'm the IT services manager for the State Bar of New Mexico. I'm just here to gain some more knowledge.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, Brianna. Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Kayer Shah. My background is engineering. I've led a lot of R&D testing evaluation groups and teams for the defense industry. I also own a financial services company specializing in insurance and privatized banking, so I'm just here to learn. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Kayer. We appreciate it. We know you're the first one here, so thank you. And my apologies for skipping you. Okay. If there's no one else that we've missed, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker for today. Our guest speaker is John Egan. He's with ABQYT, and his topic is using and creating AI agents to automate everyday workflows. John, would you like to take it from here?
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Just about.
There we go. Wonderful. So first, let me voice my appreciation for the opportunity to speak to the chamber and the lovely folks that have taken their time to join us today. What we're going to try and do is use plain language throughout and make best efforts that what I'm doing is going to be absolutely reproducible for you after we're done. So we're at just the generic web page for Microsoft Outlook. And if we were to log in, let me try, here we go. This screen should look pretty much like Outlook looks for anyone that would jump in this way. If you were to move on over to the button at the top left that says App Launcher, you'll be able to open up two apps. First is Power Automate, and the second, down to the bottom left, is Power Apps. Now, what's amazing about these two screens is that the Power Apps screen is basically representing the front end of an application. Excuse me. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to drop the screen down just a little bit so I can see it. Okay, there we go. Excuse me, how do I get rid of the top drop down?
We could
stop right there.
Yeah, that would be to stop sharing, so go back to share. And go to where it says more. Right.
There, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, it's still coming down on you.
Is it the Zoom drop down?
Yeah, that's
You just got to drag it out of the way, I think.
okay. Give me 1 second to reset this up.
You still have to open up there.
Yeah, I dragged it out of the way. Very good. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Power Automate is the screen that's going to be the back end of our application. And Power Apps is the screen that's the front end of our application. And I would mention that it's fairly amazing to be able to represent an application by two screens. And each one of these screens will allow us to build the front end of our application and the back end of our application. And I want to take a minute right now and try and use plain language because I know folks might be familiar with full stack applications or clients and servers, but a lot of people on the phone may not be, or on the call may not be. So we're going to use an analogy that's very common in AI, the restaurant analogy, where we're looking at the front end of the application, Power Apps, like the front end of a restaurant. And we're looking at the back end of the application in Power Automate as the kitchen, the back end of the restaurant. The front end of the restaurant works with the back end to create the meal. The front end places an order. The way that we'll represent in an application an order is, say, perhaps a button. So the front end of our app, a button, we press the button, something happens. An order goes to the kitchen, and the kitchen implements a recipe to create that meal. And we're going to be going through those steps. We'll be building an application using an AI agent called Microsoft Copilot. To build it, you'll have AI agents working in the background, and the application will allow you to introduce AI as you see fit to power outcomes. And, you know,
real quick, John, let me ask you. So building an application sounds really advanced, right? But when you introduced this topic, you said that, you know, this would be reproducible for anyone. So is this really designed by Microsoft to be approachable from, you know, an average Microsoft user, or is this really advanced stuff?
This is actually just about as simple as they can present this advanced material.
So this is going to be made accessible for anybody who has workflows within the Microsoft ecosystem that they might want to potentially automate through this type of process.
Yeah, you'll see, you saw when we started the presentation, I went to the web outlook.com address and I launched app launcher to show the front and the back end. That's available to anybody.
Okay.
That is utilizing Microsoft. And I'll take it one step further. Insofar as you're familiar with software and you're familiar with how you're maybe interacting with remote systems, you're familiar with the functionality that offers. All of that functionality, any more or less that you've seen, is available through this platform. This is an application, like an application on your phone or an application on the web. And to bring it down again to plain language, an application is nothing more than the action of putting something into operation. So let's dive in a little bit deeper as to how this is being put into operation. You saw the screen that said make power apps. As mentioned, that's the front end of the application that you'll be building. The term right here, UI, stands for user interface. It suggests that the front end, like the front end of the restaurant, is where you're going to be interacting with your clients, your users, your diners. You're going to give them the opportunity to place an order. We might also call it, you may give them an opportunity to implement a trigger that generates an event. But think of it as just placing an order. The front end is making a request, and they're making that request through maybe a form, or they're just pressing a button. That front end that we looked at was blank. It starts off as a blank canvas. And as you'll see, we'll be able to drag and drop components into that canvas. Again, this is the front end. So this is what's going to be appearing to your users or your clients. Like the front of the restaurant, this is where you're going to be interacting with your users and your clients. Once you build the app, you can expose it on the phone. You can expose it as a web page. And although it certainly does get complicated, as you mentioned, Greg, with model-driven apps, we're going to be looking at very simple applications where we're pressing a button to do something, basically placing an order to the kitchen or the back end of the application to produce some sort of outcome. The back end of the application, the second screen we looked at, is Power Automate. Power Automate, the kitchen, is where most of the work is done. It allows you to automate processes that normally require manual steps. You're going to be looking at the front end as your user or your client or the diner requesting for that automation or for that workflow to commence. We abbreviate automation workflow with the term flows, and there's any number of things we can do, and we're going to be illustrating some of what I'll be describing here shortly. We're able to send emails automatically, move data between systems. And the reason why we're able to do that is something called data bursts, and we'll briefly dig into that. But one thing that I really need to impress upon you is that the simple applications that we're building have the ability to integrate with hundreds and hundreds of connectors. The way to think of that is you're connecting apps. Although we're building an application, Microsoft Excel is an application. Microsoft Office is an application. And you're able to connect those applications together, but you're also able to go outside of Microsoft and connect to, say, Slack, or connect to Facebook, or connect to Gmail. So the plain language reproducible items that we'll be going through have the ability to scale and integrate with the systems that you're using right now. I mentioned that we're triggering actions based on events. I'm describing that with the restaurant analogy. The diner is placing an order for the kitchen. How that actual action is triggered could be different. It could be the simple button press that we're describing in the front end. And we'll look at these examples where a file is added or an email arrives to trigger the event. So enough of the high level, let's jump right into it. And to make this reproducible, I'm going to use these three examples that Microsoft is presenting to us. Again, keep in mind that we're on the Power Automate screen. We're going to be building the back end of our application. This is where all the work is done. The work is going to be triggered by the front end, something that we're going to create, maybe a button to be pressed. The first item we're going to look at when we create an automation with Copilot is we're going to select an example that describes an automation idea where every month we copy all the files from OneDrive folder to another OneDrive folder.
And real quick, John, you mentioned Copilot in here, and I know Power Automate has been out for several years, but this Copilot thing in Power Automate's brand new. Can you stop a minute and tell everyone a little bit about what that change means?
So I believe it became generally available in September, timed with a couple conferences. And basically, Microsoft has done is it's decomposed their entire network into literally apps. And it's giving you the ability, integrating AI, to create applications out of those apps. It gives you an AI agent, they call it Copilot, to help you build it. I'll show you on one slide how we're able to hack in and see some of the AI communication. But the bottom line is AI is here morning, noon, and night, integrating the apps, directing you on building the applications. And once you make a request to build the application, AI under the hood is developing that flow for you, as we're going to see right now. In the first example, every month, copy all the files from OneDrive folder to another OneDrive folder. Well, we described what we wanted to automate, and we're asking the AI to help make it happen. So what's the AI saying to us? The AI is saying that the front end of the house is going to be, excuse me, that's my Zoom info. The front end of the house is going to be a recurrence trigger. Someone's going to be placing an order on a regular basis. If we look up at our regular request, or our request, it suggests that every month there's going to be a trigger. And that trigger is going to trigger an action. We call it a flow because you can kind of think of water flowing downhill. Reoccurrence trigger flows to I want to list all the files in the folder I'm going to copy. And then after I list them, the for each, you see it kind of looks like a circle. I want to loop through all those files, get the file content out of each and create a new file with that file content. So again, just plain language, their example, every month, I want to copy all the files from a OneDrive folder to another. You ask the AI to suggest how it builds the front end and the back end to make that happen. If that looks good, you can keep it and continue. If it doesn't, you can add more details to the AI agent to help you build it. If we keep it and we continue, we'll see the only connector it's describing is OneDrive for Business. I mentioned there's thousands of connectors. This is just one connector. And it makes sense we're only using one connector for this because we're going into OneDrive and we're bringing it into another file within OneDrive. It gives you the opportunity to create the back end, to create the kitchen, and it lists out the recipe in order to accomplish the request from the diner every month. Copy all those files. But you'll notice that we have an error or something that looks like an error. It says invalid parameters. Well, let's see. Invalid parameters. What the heck does that mean? Well, let me ask the AI agent, Copilot, what that means. I'm going to say, hey, Copilot, what is error? And it's going to come back to me and it's going to describe what an error is. Ah, my bad. Well, I said, what is error? And it did give me the answer, described what an error is. But let me be a little bit more specific. I see that looks like a hazard sign, invalid parameters. I want to say, what is the error in my flow? That's a more specific question. And what does the AI tell me? Your current flow does not show any explicit errors. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? I'm looking at an error right here. It looks like an error. So maybe the AI is being a wise guy to me. It's saying any explicit errors. Okay, wise guy, what are the implicit errors in my flow? Because I see one right there, right? So what are the implicit errors in my flow? And the answer is, if you want to check, there are no errors. It's telling me again that everything looks to be completely fine. I can't page up, but everything is completely fine. So let me just click on that and see if, oh, well, here's the problem. Here's the problem. It says a folder is required. So what have we done here? We had the AI create a pop-up kitchen. The diner placed an order. It gave us the recipe. The flow is the recipe. But we need to provide ingredients. The ingredients are the data. If you want to list all the files in the folder, you got to tell it what folder to go to. So if I were to click on that, it would show the root drive on my computer and a bunch of files that I can choose from. Let's go take a look at another example and see if we're going to come to the same destination. The next example that Microsoft provides to us is kind of the same as the one before. Instead of every month copy files from OneDrive to another, we're going to copy all the rows from an Excel to another Excel, but we're going to click a button to get there. So what does that look like? Well, it's saying that if you describe it, which we did, it'll give you a chance to make it happen. And in this case, it's saying, hey, here's your button. That's your front end. And when you press that button, it's going to list out all those rows that are in the table. And then it's going to loop through all those rows, and it's going to add each row into a new table. It doesn't sound too bad. Let's keep it and continue. Like we saw before, it's just saying the only connector you're going to need for this is Excel. Okay. we create the flow pop-up kitchen. Here's the recipe. I don't see an error here. Okay, let's try and save it. Oh, that's a nasty error, isn't it? So let's come on up and ask for the AI to assist me in describing that error. And the error is make sure that the table exists. So we did the same thing. We used their template. And if I had asked, are there any mistakes here? It would say no, everything is absolutely correct. However, we do have an error because when we come on over to this node, we see that these files must not exist. So we need to provide the ingredients. Now, if after you're done watching this, you want to go to the Power Automate page, which you can easily go to if you have, say, Outlook, you will be able to reproduce these two examples. And then all you have to do, and I'll show you in a minute, is add your ingredients. The third template example here is when a new item is created in SharePoint. When a new item is created, send me an email. So this is a little bit different. It's a different trigger. Yeah, we're not pressing a button. We're not doing a reoccurrence every month. We're saying when something happens, when a new item is created in SharePoint, send me an email. The trigger is that new item being created. The actions are get my profile from my profile. Send me an email. That seems pretty clear cut.
Yeah, we use a similar automation like this at ABQIT because when we get a new customer, they get a new customer file in SharePoint. And at that point, our delivery team gets the notification, happens to be in Teams instead of Outlook, that they need to open up that customer file, see what type of customer it is, and then take action for that. So that's a great use case.
So when we go and we create the flow, we'll see that we're getting a little bit familiar with these conditions. We know that if we were to interrogate the AI, it'd probably say, hey, I did it right. And, looking at the logic, when an item's created, get my profile, send me an email. Pretty straightforward. And again, we see the issue is you got to add the ingredients. The kitchen is there. The recipe works. You got to add the ingredients to make the meal. So let's show ingredients being added. And I'm going to have to create another screen here. Bear with me. Let's go right back to how we started this, outlook.com.
And while you're waiting for that to load, John, can an AI be one of the nodes there that actually creates the ingredients? So can you have a generative AI node that is saying, writing Facebook posts for your business and then emailing you every day, say, an idea for a Facebook post for your business and create that automation where the AI is actually generating, say, one of the ingredients?
Absolutely. And, these frameworks that we're going to be building, if we have time, we'll definitely show how you can introduce builder actions throughout the flow. So let me take this back down. Okay, great. Bring this on over and take Power Apps out here. And it'll make sense why I'm moving all these screens around in just a second. Here, do. Excellent. So what you see here right now is a full stack application. This is a working prototype for a doctor's office. You see up at the top left, make Power Apps. This is the screen that everybody watching this is going to be able to easily get to after this presentation. To the right, make Power Automate. That was the screen in the platform where we were having Copilot generate flows. And now this flow looks a little bit more familiar than it might have if we just approached it cold. The front end, pressing the order, is nothing more than a button in this regard. And you'll see I've already highlighted it, and up at the top it says reminder bot app access.run. And if I were to open this screen up just a tiny little bit more, you'd see that that's what this flow is called. Full stack application. I press the button, it flows through, and ultimately it creates a reminder email. That reminder email is basically letting a patient know that they have an exam coming up. And I can go to my actual inbox and I can see, hold on, let's hit it again, run, pop it, go, and we should see the email pop up, and there it is. Oops, no, that is not it. 1 second. Let's go to today. There it is. This is a proof of concept reminder for an exam type, Ryan Campbell. Don't worry, folks. This is information that's fake. I just generated it through ChatGPT. But these are the ingredients that were missing in our other example. This is an Excel spreadsheet that automation accessed in order to generate an email for the client. And I can show you on this particular line, we have 2 truths. And again, this is all fake information. The next date of the exam is 11/25. That's 7 days into the future. So technically, this automation should have generated 2 emails for me. Let me see if it did. And it did. It generated an email for Grace Carter. It generated an email for Ryan Campbell. And if I were to pop back, you'll see that those are the names of those 2 individuals. So, this is showing you the functionality of an actual full stack app that you've created within Microsoft. Let's dig a little bit more into what's actually happening there. I'm going to jump back to Power Automate. And again, this is our back end, right? This is our kitchen. And let me expose some of the inner workings of this with a specific, here's where I saved it. 1 second. I want to generate a prompt, send it to my AI. Let's see what happens when I put that one in. What's the kitchen going to do with that one? Okay, well, this is the nature. Let me change that a little bit and see if I can coax it. I want to send a prompt to AI. Let me see if that will hack it out. Come on, be nice to me. Yes, there we go. So the first one I put in should have generated this for me, but AI is probabilistic tech. Sometimes doesn't quite give you what you want. So this is a little hack, inner working, to show you something about how this all works. The flow for, what was my request again? I want to send a prompt to the AI. Can't really build a flow for that because it's kind of only part of what it's looking for. So it unveils this bizarre statement saying shared common data service for apps, AI builder predict custom prompt. That's basically representing the internal AI trying to figure out how to process that prompt. When I create the flow, it introduces something really special. And that was the purpose of this last bit that I'll go through very quick. Microsoft Dataverse. Microsoft Dataverse is what makes all of this work. Power Apps is the front end. Power Automate is the back end. But Dataverse is the cloud database for apps and automations. It basically provides a way to store all the information that's going to be moved around in the secure Microsoft environment. I started my timer late, so I know I'm a few minutes over 20. We do have some case studies, but let me stop at this moment before we proceed and say thank you very much for the opportunity to move through some of this material for you today.
Thank you, John. That was wonderful. And if we're going to open it up to the network now, and if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to share about the didactic, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, or even any hypotheticals, like, can we automate this type of workflow? This is our workflow. Is that automatable? Love to hear from the audience.
John, I got a question. When you complete your automation, where do you store the button? In other words, it's kind of like you've created all these different fantastic automations. Where are they so you can go and actuate them?
So they exist within my local environment and my cloud environment. But let me, if I could, and I'm sharing my screen. Let me share my screen. To expand upon that, I do, if we have time, want to show you some of the tabs here in Power Automate. But one of the tabs addresses specifically your question in terms of storing. So you store this on your local machine, or you store it within your cloud environment that you access in your local machine. But if you want to take what you've created and share it with, say, a colleague working remotely or a different company that's utilizing Microsoft, you would package it within a solution.
Okay.
And this might also be a good opportunity to suggest that when you try out some examples within Power Automate, and let's say you want to dig in a little bit deeper as to what this solution is about, you can go to the left tab, you can click on these three buttons, and you'll see that you have the opportunity to learn more. And if you open that up, it'll actually give you all the documentation you might ever want. And if I could often also suggest, if you want to make it a little bit easier, I mean, if it's a little bit challenging, some of this technical information, just take a shortcut and do something like come over to here and just, very lazily go through, copy and paste. Let's stop it right here. Just copy and paste it, dump it into something like Claude Anthropic, which you can access at claude.ai. This platform is entirely free, and just say something like generate a cheat sheet, just as simple as that. Paste in what might be, a little bit more advanced, and ask for a cheat sheet. And then when you go through and you're reading through the material, if there's a particular line item that you're a little bit confused about, you can sit there and you can just pull lines off the cheat sheet and ask for it to expand a little bit more. So
yeah, and back to your question too, that button to trigger the workflow can be embedded into any Microsoft application as well. So if you wanted to put that button in your menu bar in your Outlook or in Excel or PowerPoint or wherever you're going to be working and maybe want to actuate that workflow, it's fairly easy to just embed that button in the menu, the top menu bar of any Microsoft application, and click it. And again, it doesn't even have to be a button either. It could be a scheduled time, or even just if this, then that, and it actuates.
And as you saw, the AI wrote a cheat sheet book to help you understand that particular section.
So for the sake of time, we could either move on to the case presentation. If it is brief, we would like to allow for the network to ask any questions or make any comments, or we can just continue with this conversation.
I have two case studies that I can show quickly if they aren't generated from the audience. The first would be, and this would probably be applicable for most of the folks watching. I want to create a summary of all my appointments this week in Outlook, search my SharePoint customer files for transcripts and notes, to create customized summaries of these appointments. So I'll stop for a second. If there's anyone out there that just has a general request that they want to make to the AI Copilot in order to build a automation flow, feel free. It doesn't take too long to demonstrate that. But in the interim, let me put this in and see what comes back. Because, you know, if you look at what's being requested here, it kind of feels like it really would have general application, right? You know, you have a bunch of appointments this week, and, you know, rather than going around and asking your staff or digging through all of your materials, you want to have the ability to have a good summation Monday morning as you have that cup of coffee. So,
and John, before you continue in this, we just got a question in the chat.
Okay.
It says, what is the security structure of this process via security in transit and security at rest?
So I'm glad you asked that question. It's a marvelous question. Let's jump back to the last slide, Dataverse. So Microsoft is offering security at rest and security at transit. Security at rest is Dataverse. Security at transit is something called Microsoft Graph API. That's the structure that Microsoft has put together to allow you to use this AI functionality within your secure tenant. Hopefully, did I answer that question clearly?
So it's encrypted at rest and at transit, and it's all secured within your own.
Because the Dataverse and Microsoft Graph API, those are the technological advancements that Microsoft introduced to allow us to do this securely.
We also have another question
Thank
from
you.
Louise. So Louise, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Absolutely. I wanted to know how I could utilize this for our event venue when someone fills in the contact form from our website to where it sends them an automated message telling them someone is going to respond to them within 24 to 48 hours, like touch base with them almost immediately so they know that their email is taken care of.
Yeah, that's a great use.
Generate response.
So real quick though, Luis, on that, when they fill out that contact form on the website, does that inquiry come in to your inbox via an email?
Yes, he did.
Okay, and it probably has a particular subject line or something like that that's standardized?
Yes.
Yeah, so John, it would basically be, you know, get an email, which trigger is receive an email, has a very specific, say, subject line, and then generate a reply.
Generate response email within 48 hours when web form is filled. Does the audience member feel that represents what they're looking to achieve?
Generate an immediate email response. So
immediate email
within about 30 minutes to an hour when web form is received via email.
Okay, we'll just say generate email response.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to.
Yeah.
When web form is filled.
Yeah.
And I would even leave the web form part out because the trigger truly is when the web form is filled, she gets an email.
Right.
And so it's going to be an email reply.
So the flow that's being suggested to us is the trigger is when a new response is submitted. Does that make sense? Well,
yeah.
When a web form is filled, that's the description within Microsoft Forms when a web form is filled that a new response is submitted. So that seems to be correct. Once that trigger is implemented, once you either press the button in testing or manually implement it, or in fact, a form is actually filled out, the action is we want to get what was filled out. We want to get those details, and from those details, we want to send an email.
Yeah, so really when the form's filled out, she gets it in her inbox. So I would say the trigger would be receive an email.
Well, when we use the send an email connector, that will connect Microsoft Forms with Outlook. They'll be
But
connected.
it might not be Microsoft Forms.
Um,
It could be website or some other form, and it's sending an email to her inbox. So she's getting that email, and then everything is in there in the email that was filled out on the form. And she just wants an auto reply set up to that.
And within our environment, that's going to be a Microsoft Forms trigger. If we want to access remotely, there would be an HTTP connector that would allow that to occur. So, you know, the flow that's being presented by the AI is we're going to connect the Microsoft Forms with the Microsoft Outlook, and we're going to transport that using Microsoft Graph. So all of this is going to be done securely within the Microsoft environment, and our ability to tailor what that email says, tailor when we want to handle the response or maybe not handle the response, will all be things that we'll be able to customize as we move along. The connected apps and services in this case are just going to be Microsoft Forms and Microsoft Outlook. And when it creates the recipe, again, we're seeing what we've seen before, which is we need to say, hey, where do we go find that new response? Where do we actually, in this situation, it's error from the information that's coming from above. So that would go away when you complete that. If you add the ingredients, if you connect this node to an actual file, you will be able to go through the flow just like I went through the flow in my example. The way that you want to frame your vision on this is use the restaurant analogy. The AI agent, the AI functionality will generate the kitchen. It's going to generate the recipe, but you have to add the ingredients, and the ingredients are connecting up with the data that's going to be powering the flow.
Thank you, John. For the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And we thank everyone for joining us today. There may be a part 2 because there's just so much information here that is just so helpful that we will consider doing a part 2 on this. In the meantime, Elliot has dropped in the link for our feedback survey. If you can please take a second to fill that out. That helps us steer the way of choosing what curriculum we cover, and it really helps to build this program, design this program to our participants' interests. So if you can take a moment to fill that out, that would be great. I'd also like to remind you that our sessions are held every first and third Tuesday of every month. And our next session is going to be on December 2nd. The topic is Cyber Risk Management Essentials, Part 2 by Mark Fidel. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that if you have a case presentation that you would like to submit, Elliot he dropped a link in the chat box. And that can be any questions that you have surrounding IT that you would like for us to discuss. Please, we encourage you to submit that. If anyone has any questions, we do have a few more minutes.
Just a quick comment on the next session that's coming up from Mark, the cyber risk management. I cannot stress how valuable that type of content is going to be. I was talking with the owner of a plumbing company last week. They did one wrong click on an email, and it cost them over $100,000 to their business. That's the type of risk that small businesses are dealing with right now, and they're going to be able to learn how to mitigate those risks in a session like the next one with Mark.
Great. We look forward to it.
Intrigue.
Thank you again, Mark. We appreciate the presentation, just wonderful information. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we hope to see you at the next session.
Good job, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.